Welcome to A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students, Lesson 241. Right before Lesson 241 is a little section called, What is the World? So we'll read that and then we'll move into the lesson. The world is false perception. It is born of error and it has not left its source. It will remain no longer than the thought that gave it birth is cherished. When the thought of separation has been changed to one of true forgiveness, will the world be seen in quite another light, and one which leads to truth, where all the world must disappear and all its errors vanish. Now its source has gone and its effects are gone as well. The world was made as an attack on God. It symbolizes fear. And what is fear except love's absence? Thus the world was meant to be a place where God could enter not and where his Son could be apart from him. Here was perception born, for knowledge could not cause such insane thoughts, but eyes deceive and ears hear falsely. Now mistakes become quite possible, for certainty has gone. The mechanisms of illusion have been born instead, and now they go to find what has been given them to seek. I'm going to pause and say, it just sounds a lot like a game of hide and seek. Their aim is to fulfill the purpose which the world was made to witness and make real. They see in its illusions but a solid base where truth exists, upheld apart from lies. Yet everything that they report is but illusion, which is kept apart from truth. This is also reminding me of when you have a little baby, one of the reasons why they love peekaboo is because there's this idea of impermanency, or if the baby can't see you, then the baby thinks you can't exist, or that you're not there, you don't exist anymore. And so it's such a delight and a surprise for the baby when you're hiding and you go peekaboo and the baby sees, oh, she's still there. And aren't we playing a little bit of peekaboo with God? They see in its illusions but a solid base where truth exists, upheld apart from lies. Yet everything that they report is but illusion, which is kept apart from truth. As sight was made to lead away from truth, it can be redirected. Sounds become the call for God, and all perception can be given a new purpose by the one whom God appointed Savior to the world. Follow his light and see the world as he beholds it. Hear his voice alone in all that speaks to you, and let him give you peace and certainty, which you have thrown away. But heaven has preserved for you in him. Let us not rest content until the world has joined our changed perception. Let us not be satisfied until forgiveness has been made complete. And let us not attempt to change our function. We must save the world. For we who made it must behold it through the eyes of Christ, that what was made to die can be restored to everlasting life. Lesson 241. This holy instant is salvation come. What joy there is today. It is a time of special celebration. For today holds out the instant to the darkened world where its release is set. The day has come when sorrows pass away and pain is gone. The glory of salvation dawns today upon a world set free. This is the time of hope for countless millions. They will be united now as you forgive them all. For I will be forgiven by you today. We have forgiven one another now, and so we come at last to you again. Father, your Son, who never left, returns to heaven and his home. How glad are we to have our sanity restored to us and to remember that we all are one. And to remember that we all are one. So what does it mean that we all are one? Course in Miracles talks a lot about that we're the sonship. What even creates contrast? There's no me without you. That sounds like a cheesy Hallmark card, but it's actually true. And I cannot exist independently from you. It wouldn't even make sense. It's a nonsensical idea. What is I if there's no you? We're taught in a workbook for students that God doesn't see us as separate. God doesn't even see us as separate from our source. And we have free will to imagine ourselves as separate, to imagine ourselves in the small self, the ego, the I of the ego, which is, this is me, that's you, and we're in competition. But God doesn't see that. God's world is based on completion, not competition. God's world is based on love and unity, not on separation and division. So we're being given an opportunity as we study a workbook for students to adopt a new thought system, a new way of seeing God's world versus the old world that we used to see through the eyes of fear, through the lens of fear, through the small self, through the I, through the ego that felt very small and vulnerable and insecure. But is that the truth? Or is that just a game of peekaboo and hide and seek from the reality and the truth of the real you? Again, unity consciousness, connecting with source, the realization of who and what you are is experiential. But these beautiful words, this holy instant, is salvation come. Right here, right now, you are already saved, you are already whole, you are already complete. You may not be fully aware of that, but the workbook for students is calling you into that awareness. And if you're ready, welcome home. And I'll see you tomorrow for lesson 242.